titled Reinventing Yourself. He's a podcaster with his own show called Putting It All Together. Daniel is also an advocate for HIV awareness, and he's had his own bout with cancer, right? And survived. So greetings to the show, Daniel. I love your outfit, by the way.
Thank you. I figured for the holiday, dress up a little bit.
Yes, and I am wearing all white today in honor of my fashionistas who say that you're not supposed to wear white after Labor Day.
Oh, okay.
So,
you're being a rebel. I like
and,
that.
you know, basically I say fuck them, you know, whatever. So tell me a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to get into some useless rhetoric. But for now, how did you reinvent yourself after being diagnosed with cancer?
Wow. Well, I was diagnosed with cancer in March of 2015, anal cancer. And it's usually really taboo to talk about anal cancer. A lot of men don't want to talk about it, especially because it's diagnosed in latter stages. So a lot of men get really sick and die from anal cancer. Basically, it kicks your ass. So we were fortunate enough, or I was fortunate enough, that we caught it early on, and we were able to do chemo and radiation. I got very sick. I weigh about 160 now. I went down to 123 pounds. At a certain point, I couldn't walk anymore. I was in a wheelchair. And then I slowly started bouncing back. The reinvention came because I had an artery that burst and I was bleeding to death. And I was about 5 minutes short of dying. And that's what the hospital said. 5 more minutes of bleeding time and I would have died. My hemoglobin count was 7 or 5 by the time I got to the hospital. And they were like, how are you even alive? My boyfriend was even shocked by the amount of blood that came out. I think at that point when I didn't die, and I will confess that when people talk about seeing that light, I was at the door of that light, and I can say that with confidence. After that, me and my boyfriend Christian decided we're gonna take life. It's gonna be yes from now on, kind of like an improv, yes and that was the invention. I was a workaholic before. I was always on something. My relationship was plan B. Everything about work was first. If you called me today and said, let's go see a movie, and in the same second somebody called and said, hey, I have a job for you, I was like, I gotta go. I don't care how much it pays, it's work, I gotta go. Now it's about trying to take a little more time and enjoy life and smelling the roses and not busting my ass, for lack of it. I like the ass jokes because it's anal cancer. But it's about...
Do you think that, because you touched base on a few different things here, do you think that stress has a lot to do with cancer?
Oh, definitely. It has.
Yeah, my mom is a survivor, and so I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. Stress is such a friend of kicking your butt in any way. Because I'm also HIV positive. I was diagnosed with AIDS 15 years ago. It'll be 16 this September. It affects your immune system. It affects your cells. And because I'm an energy worker too, that negative energy through your body is not good. So yes, stop stressing people. Stop it.
So I mean, so you had anal cancer.
Yeah.
And then you also were diagnosed with HIV. Which came first?
HIV came first. That was back in 2000.
So did that make things really difficult for you to cope with the cancer because of the immune system?
Yes, it definitely, when I was going through treatment, I had to stop my HIV meds because chemo and HIV meds don't work together sometimes. So it was scary because my immune system could have gotten really low and I could have died through treatment. So it was a little scary. I got my meds. Treatment was over. In fact, this July was a year ago that we stopped cancer treatment. So we're cancer free right now. We're waiting for 1 more year. Yeah, we're. But I also have a colostomy bag that came about. We had issues with radiation, so now I wear a colostomy. For those that don't know, it's basically the intestine is pulled out through your belly, and the bag gets attached. And so when I say I have a bag of shit carrying around, I literally do have a bag of shit carrying around. It's no bullshit on that one. And I don't know if this makes sense. You just kind of have to take everything in stride now. I mean, we laugh about it because if not, you can crumble, and that's another reinvention. I don't crumble as much as I think I used to do. Oh, my boyfriend might say something different. You have to laugh at life. You laugh at plans. You know that old saying, "You plan and God laughs."
Yeah.
Total cool. Even if you're not religious, the universe, Buddha, Mother Nature, you plan your day and they're like, ha, 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 psych on you. That's, you talk about the reinvention, and that's been the big one is, yes, just things change and you just got to go with it.
Right. Yeah, that's true, because, life is going to always throw you those jabs, and then every once in a while you get that right hook in there, and it's the people that I are afraid to get back up and brush themselves off and keep going. Those are the people that I hope, these little video vignettes are helping them, to kind of find ways to reinvent themselves, find ways to accept and embrace that life still goes on, and things change. Things are going to be better. Generally, they're better. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and this is going to be kind of like a little bit of a downer moment, but I get it. If you're watching this and you're going through HIV, newly diagnosed, if you're going through cancer treatment, whatever it is, I get it. I get it. There's going to be that moment right in the middle. I'm getting chills because I remember there was that middle moment where I looked at my boyfriend and with all seriousness, I said, please grab the pillow and suffocate me. Do it, because I can't do this anymore. I'm tired. I don't want to hurt anymore. Because I know cancer, there was always leakage and accidents. I'm like, I'm tired of taking 4 showers a day because I smell. I can't do this anymore. So if you're there right now and you're watching this, just know that I get it. But look at me. Can't do it without getting emotional. I was there and I was ready to give up, and I hated life, and I was fisting God like, why me? Like, of all people, like I've been a good guy lately. Like, stop. And then all of a sudden, something changed, and the uphill battle. I was up at the top going, I'm almost done with treatment. I'm feeling a little better. My hair started growing back. And I was like, ooh, there's the light. There's the light. So please, if you're watching this, if you happen to click on this and you're watching it and you're like, fuck life, fuck everybody, I'm done, give me a day. That's all I'm asking. Give me 1 more day and see what happens tomorrow. And then kind of like alcohol, because I'm also a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. It's like, hey, 1 day at a time. That's all I'm asking you. Just not for me, for you. 1 day at a time, and then let's see what happens tomorrow. And if you feel a little bit better, 5%, man, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe in that. If I didn't believe that just 1 more day made a difference, it would not be here. And I wouldn't have this opportunity.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're certainly glad that you are here and able to talk about this, and hopefully it does enlighten people. Where can people go if they've been diagnosed with Either or. Where would you suggest that they look up information?
Oh, well, definitely, if you are newly diagnosed with HIV or AIDS, and even cancer, there's a great website called thebody.org, I believe. But if you type in the body, that's a great resource. That was one of the very first pages that I went to early on. And I do HIV presentations at high schools, colleges, and universities. And that's one of the pages that I recommend people go to. Find support groups in your area. If you type in cancer support groups, or the Cancer Association has local groups that you go to, check that out. Even for colostomy survivors, there's local colostomy groups. I keep missing them. We're always out of town when they're here in Culver City or in Laguna Beach, so I still have to go to one. But my surgery for colostomy was just in April, so I still have time to go. HIV, there's always a support group locally. Find your local testing round. Go to the gay community. Go to your local community. There's usually, now I think they're all over the country, the out of the closet BSO shops. Find an out of the closet close to you. Go there. They usually have free testing. And if you already are HIV positive, they'll guide you in the right direction to find the people you can. And if you're like, okay.
Great resources. Thank you for that. HIV is something that has changed over the last couple decades.
Yeah.
For the better.
Yes.
But how is it different now compared to what it was? When did this become big? Like in the 90s, right?
Yeah. So the first, just a little bit, the first cases were back in 1985. By 1990, it was given the proper names. I was diagnosed officially in September of 2000 with AIDS. So on my report, it says Daniel Garza, AIDS patient. The way it's changed, as far as my history is concerned, is the medication levels. You don't take as many medications as we used to. People are being diagnosed a lot quicker. So people don't have to even go on medication right off. There's 1-a-day pills now that weren't available. People in the beginning in the 80s were taking like 40 pills a day. Some people had to take 8 pills every 8 hours. That was sickening. A lot of people were dying from overdosing on medications. That's what the AZT was doing.
Oh, wow. They were overdosing on it?
Yeah, the medications were too strong because nobody knew how to regulate them. So those early people were guinea pigs and they were dying from overdosing. Now there's better treatments. There's about 8, I'm going to say 1-a-day pills. They're all in one. You take 1 a day and you're done. I take 8 pills at night, and that's my full regimen. But I also take pills because HIV can affect your cholesterol, your high blood pressure, heart problem.
Wow.
There's a lot of issues that come being positive. So over 15 years, I've developed a high cholesterol level. Regardless of my diet, I always have it. I have heart problems, I have heart palpitations, and I have high blood pressure sometimes. So I have to take all the medication. So it's not just the HIV pill. Sometimes you have to take pills for extra stuff. So that's a change. People didn't know that early on.
Right. And I didn't know that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I don't know everything. I mean, I know a lot, but I definitely didn't know that. So thank you for giving that enlightenment to us. So was it difficult for you for the dating world because you were diagnosed prior to your significant other? I know that you have a partner that you've been with and very happy with.
Yeah, early on, I would always before internet, because that's how old I am.
Me too.
You met people, and usually I would meet people in support groups or out at the bar or something. And I have to mention that during the first years of being HIV positive, I was also a drug addict and alcoholic. So a lot of times I was high or drunk and did not disclose.
Yeah.
Fast forward to Christian, my current boyfriend.
Yeah.
We met online. We met on OkCupid. So thank you, OkCupid, for introducing us. Little spot there. But in the beginning, I didn't know this, but for gay couples, when you sign up, it'll have a status box, HIV positive, negative, or don't want to say.
Yeah.
I would always put don't want to say. And I would wait until I would go on dates, and then I would reveal that I was positive. And usually we didn't make it to dessert. It would stop right at dinner, and we're ready to go home. But then I thought, what a hypocrite, because I was teaching classes on being HIV positive and supportive and being proud of it and not being ashamed. And here I was keeping it secret on my dating profile. So I changed it. I changed it to HIV positive. And when I met Christian, by the time we went on our first date, he already knew. He was aware of it. We talked about it. He's HIV negative. I'm positive, and it was better. I mean, that way it's not. We didn't really have that awkward first conversation of, what's your status. Although I'm going to tell anybody who's dating, another little moment. Uncle Daniel giving you some information. Always ask. That should be. Always ask. It's as important as asking where you live, what kind of car do you drive, can I find you on Twitter?
Is that because you just don't really, I mean, you're more apt to get a true answer because you directly asked them the question?
Yeah, and it puts people on the spot, and you'll learn to know when they're lying or when they're, what people think. It'll start the conversation. And I think part of the reason that we have not fought or beat down HIV as much as we should is because we're still scared to talk about it. It's still taboo. I don't know if this happens in the straight world. I mean, I don't know if men ask women, are you on the pill? Or if a woman asks a man, do you have a condom if you're going to have sex?
Yeah.
But along the lines of, do you have a condom in your wallet? Are you HIV positive? Have you been tested? Have you been tested?
Yeah, I just don't have sex.
Yeah. There you go.
I gave it up a long time.
People, listen to her. She's still a beautiful woman. Please call her. FaceTime her. But
no matter who you are.
And it should be on your checklist. Do you have protection? If you're going to have sex that night with somebody you just met, or do you have a condom? For the women, are you on the pill? And have you been tested? And here's my other Uncle Daniel pointer. Always assume that the person you're with is positive if you don't know them. Assume they're positive and take care of yourself as if they were.
That's interesting. So you're suggesting to the viewers, like, if they're unsure of whether or not the person has HIV, is HIV, you should just automatically assume it.
Right.
They are. So this way, then you're taking that additional precautionary step. I understand. Okay.
Because there's female condoms that you can use, and for women, I'm surprised a lot of women don't know about the female condom, and it's basically the same as a male condom. It's bigger and it gets inserted into the vagina. It's a lot of gay men use it too because it could also be inserted into the anal cavity. So it's really safe protection, and you can wear those up to about 8 hours, and they won't cause any harm. So that if as a woman you want to go out and party with your friends and you meet a cute guy and you're like, hey, I want to get it on, and you don't want to be concerned about asking the questions, you already have a condom inserted in your vagina. So if he doesn't want to wear a condom, you're already protected. Same thing for anal sex. You put that in before you go out, and if something
So
was
you're
happening.
telling me right now, I mean, I just want to make sure that I understand this correctly, that before I go out, I now need to spend another 15 minutes doing something else.
Yeah, only if you think you're gonna have sex. If you're just gonna go,
I never do.
yeah. If you're just going to the church potluck, maybe not. You know, unless the pastor is really cute, then maybe you wanna. If you want to give more to God, then by all means do it. You know, offerings come in all ways. So hey, here you go, God. I offer my virginity. Um, but
I mean, what you're saying, though, I get it, and I think I agree with you, and it makes perfect sense because realistically, you don't know, and people aren't always 100% authentic and genuine in who they are. So you need to take, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you, no matter who you are. Even if you're a heterosexual couple, you really need to know that your first couple times of sleeping with somebody, you're taking a risk because you don't know. If you don't know that person inside and out, like that, maybe that's not the right way to put it. But I'm saying, I'm being honest. I think that you have to take those precautions because we have to be responsible for ourselves at the end of the day. Because once you contract AIDS, there's no turning back. You don't get cured of it. It never goes away. So in all actuality, you have to be willing to take care of yourself first and foremost. And you can't always reinvent yourself. Like in that situation, that's not even possible, right?
it's
Just
that
don't care.
HIV is that family member that comes to stay for a couple of weeks and never goes away. And then you're like, you love them. You're like, I've learned HIV has worked for me. And quick story. I had a dream when I was diagnosed, and I was raised Catholic, so God's been a big presence in my life. I had a dream that God in a dream came and told me, like, here's HIV. I'm going to give this to you because I think you will do something great with it. In my dream, I remember him telling me it's going to be hard. There's going to be a lot of pain, but I promise you that at the end, I will give you a prize. I will reward you for carrying this out. So that's when I started teaching about it and talking about it. I've been talking about HIV and AIDS. I've been diagnosed 15. I've been talking about it for about 14 and a half years now. And it's become my ally. It's become a friend that I count on to share the message. But my message to kids, because I talk to a lot of people between 16, 17, and 24, and it's like, be safe. We can stop it. If you guys out there who are negative, stop having risky sex or stop having risky behaviors. If you just take a little more conscious of that, we can stop this. I'm already infected. Let me carry the message. Let me talk to people about being infected. You guys out there who are negative, just take care of yourself and keep being negative. It's the one time in your life that being negative is a positive thing.
So here's a silly question.
Okay.
With the gay bar scene, one thing I noticed is every single time that they put together a bar for just chicks, the men always overtake it. Why is that?
Are we talking about just like all women or a lesbian bar?
Well, lesbian bar.
Lesbian bar, okay. I don't know. Is it like fishing in a barrel kind of thing? Like I don't know what I would think. I would. I always because I don't go to bars much anymore. But when I used to, in my 20s and 30s, it is true. There's always the straight dude at a lesbian bar, either they're attractive to the masculinity that can exist in a lesbian bar, because let's face it, there's some lesbian women that I used to look at and go, wow, like I would date you, like you're butcher than I am. I think that a lot of straight men do believe in the, if you have one good dick, you'll change. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that can happen. But personally, I really do think that it's about that assimilation. It's the same reason I think that a lot of straight women go to gay bars, and you see them hanging around with sometimes a lot of them were flamboyant gay boys.
Yeah, I go to gay bars because the drinks are really good and cheap. And you can and typically you can smoke cigarettes at gay bars.
And then we usually have a couple of almost naked boys for you to watch. So
yeah.
I mean, it's a win-win situation right there.
Can you imagine? I mean, I know you're not a smoker, right? You don't smoke cigarettes. And I'm, lessening that all the time now. But what I always thought of is, oh my God, could you imagine if they took cigarettes away from gay clubs? There would, right? There would be a war.
Yeah, because that kind of keeps us entertained with something in our mouth for a little while. So
maybe that's what it is. It's our gay community is oral. We have an oral fixation.
Yeah, especially, I mean, I think they would have like Twizzlers on every bar, so a gay man could put something in their mouth and keep it entertained. Well,
but it's women too. It's women too, because I mean, anytime I've ever gone to, and I've been to gay bars all around the country, and every community that I've gone to, I've never been to one gay community so far that does not allow smoking cigarettes. I don't think that it's possible.
Which says one of two things: either gay people are real good addicts, or two, we're just too stressed out. We're not getting enough sex, and we need.
I think that's very. That could be a very big possibility, because a lot of the gay people that I know do deal with it's a difficult lifestyle. No matter if you're LGBT or Q, it does not matter. It is a difficult lifestyle. It's something that is just openly accepted, even though it's getting better. I think it definitely depends on the community that you're in, but it's still not 100%. You can't just go walk into any place and just be like, hey, we love you. Hey. No, it's not like that.
I think that even with we've had a lot of really good steps on the way as far as the gay community is concerned. We've opened up more. I definitely want to give credit to shows like Will and Grace, League, where that they open those doors for us. There's even shows now like Night Shift that has a gay couple that's adopting.
Yeah.
The New Normal was really relevant, which didn't last long. I was sad that didn't last long. I think we're making good strides.
Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, I think we're making good advances. I think people are a little more comfortable with gay people. I think for the most part, they're okay with gay people being on that side. As long as you stay on that side, we're good. Just don't get too close, because that gets uncomfortable.
And for our viewers who don't know, one of the most difficult out of the community would be bisexual.
Yeah.
Because they're never, would you agree, they're never like 100% accepted by straight or gay people. You're like, because the gay people are always like, why don't you just make up your fucking mind, right?
I'll admit that used to be.
Straight people are like, oh, you're gay, or you're bisexual. Oh, does that mean we're gonna have a threesome today? Or you're freaky deaky? No. I mean, no, that's not what it means at all.
Gay people, bisexual people are considered that that middle hookup. It's like that extension cord that you need to complete. Like, let's just put that one in the middle and we'll be okay. Okay, I didn't mean to do that.
And I studied to be a sex therapist. I thought that's what I wanted to do when I was in college. And then I realized shortly after, like, I don't want to listen to your sexual escapades every day and get paid for it. So I dropped out of that. But one thing that I learned while I was studying is that all species of animals are bisexual. It's very common, with all across the board. So I don't even know why I'm telling everybody this, but look it up. Look it up.
Well, I'll finish out. I want to finish what we were talking about, addiction and the gay community before because I think you touched on something really important, that drugs, alcohol, and smoking and any other kind of addictions are prevalent in the community.
Right.
Because there is a lot of stress, especially people who have been disowned, kicked out of their homes, etc. They end up in the streets, or they end up having to move to a different city where they don't know a lot of people.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the biggest place to meet other gay people still is a gay club. You can go to the playground and you'll meet people. If that's not your scene, if you're not really a party club person, but you want to fit in, peer pressure, for those of you that don't know, peer pressure is not just a teenage thing. It goes on forever.
Right.
And a lot of adults or young men or women in the new community say, when I move to a new city, I want to meet people, I go to the bar, there's some partiers, I think, oh wow, everybody else parties, so I'm going to do it. If I already have an addictive personality, I'll get hooked, whatever it is, alcohol, drugs, or smoking, whatever. And there starts the pattern of addiction. So for another Uncle Daniel moment, for those of you moving to a new city, there are other places besides the bars. Nothing against bars,
right.
But there's other places where you can meet people, and you don't have to fall into an addiction if you don't want to.
Where would those places be? What does that look like?
Well, wow, we have, we're in the world of internet. We have the World Wide Web. There's meetups.
Coffee shops.
Yeah. Every city, even Laguna Beach, there's the Coffee Clutch in Laguna Beach, and it's right next to the gay bar. So that's our gay district. It's one bar and one coffee shop. Yeah, yes. So you can either have coffee or have a cocktail next door. But there's gay people that join there, and there's a pride flag outside, so you can't miss it. I think it's the only pride flag in town that's sticking out. So find it out. But there's meetups, there's coffee houses, there's all kinds of other groups. Gay people have other interests. We do other things. So go meet them and call me if you're really gonna. We'll hang out. I love coffee shop.
There you go. Everybody see, Daniel's introducing himself so that you guys can talk to him. But he does have a significant other.
We come as a couple. We do.
Yeah.
So that's not an invitation for a three-way. We just say this is not a swingers invitation. Let's just get that out there.
And I do not run an escort service. I promise.
Do you still get 60%? I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to talk about that.
That there is an escort service which is titled Eve Gray, but it does not have anything to do with me. Yeah. And if any of my viewers are watching and you found that site prior to friending me, you will be sadly mistaken. And I do not run an escort service.
That's funny.
I wouldn't even know what to do with that. I mean, literally, I wouldn't know what to do with that.
I see wheels turning. What's going on over there?
Yeah. I would be like, look, you got to find your own dates. But coming out, I think, can be very difficult. Now, do you believe that all people are, I mean, people that are, you know, from LGBTQ, that you're born that way? Do you think that you can become that way after being straight?
Um, okay, I can,
My theory is that it's both.
yeah,
It depends on the individual.
I was born gay. I
So
came out of the
you knew at a young age.
Yeah, I came out of the package that way. It was already part of the deal. Because I was very young. I was a kid, and my mom, I'd had babysitters, and I was attracted to the boys, my babysitters' boys.
Mm.
So I knew from very, very early on that I was gay, and I used to take a peek at my dad's porn magazines, and the old Mexican porn magazines were like movie stills of porns, and you would just flip through them, and they had little balloon titles on there and stuff. And I always found the men very attractive and associated myself with the women. So I was like, oh, sexually, I want to be where she is. And as you grow up, I would hear the word bag and queer, or in you know, Spanish, Mexicans, joto, and I was like, oh, so that's what I am. With the negative connotation, it took me years to realize that being gay is not a negative thing.
Right.
But I've always, no, because as an adult, I've learned to fight more the choosing to side of it, because it's hard being gay. This is not an easy gig.
No.
You get bullied, people get killed, you get kicked out of your house.
Right.
You can in some places still lose your job, lose your home, lose friends. Up until recently, you could get denied going into the military. I was going to join the army, and I didn't do it because I was scared that they would find out I was gay, and I did not join. And that's still one of my biggest regrets. I wish I wanted to be in the military. So yeah, being gay, that's a tough job. It's not, it comes with a lot of perks because we dress fabulously, throw awesome parties, and we're adorable all the time. But it takes a lot of work to be a fag in these days. It's not, it's, but I would not change my life. I would, I've thought about it several times because I had girlfriends in high school, and I'm like, what if I had gotten married and had kids, lived that life, and although I still want kids, but I love my boyfriend, and
I think you can be happy, obviously, no matter what your backstory is or what your, what your, how you're made up. There's still the opportunity to be happy. And I think no matter who it is that you are, if that's what you want in life, you can go after that and be happy. People can be happy.
There's a reason that you're called gay. Yay!
Yeah.
It's not, if you're, again, another Uncle Daniel moment, if you're out there and you're young, because I work with a lot of, I hate the word millennial, but I work with a lot of young people.
Yeah.
One of the cool things about young people is that they kind of blurred the lines between sexuality. They can go from straight to bi to gay in a week, and you're like, what are you this week? And I think that's beautiful. I think this new generation has that down where they're like, I don't care. I just want to be happy. That's awesome. They've stopped worrying about what people think about them, and they just do. We're the ones that still get hung up on, like, oh, I'm not a PDA person, but I'm extremely careful when we go out, just to not, even in the gay areas, I'm still kind of like, oh, don't touch me. And that's because, not because I don't love my boyfriend, it's just, it's what's been engraved in my head.
Yeah.
Because of my culture, of my upbringing, my religion, just don't.
You were raised no PDA.
Yeah, don't, we're Catholics, we don't touch unless you're a priest. So I applaud the younger generation for teaching us that you can blur the boundaries, and you're not going to self-combust if you do that.
Yeah.
So that's a lesson I think we can learn. But definitely being gay has had its challenge, personally, has had a challenge establishing relationships with somebody else and with my family.
Right.
Relationships with myself. There were times when I was very self-loathing and hating. Now I'll be 46 this December. It's taken me a long time to be comfortable with being a homosexual man, Hispanic, HIV positive, cancer survivor, and you keep adding to the list. So there's a time for me, there's a time now where being gay is the least of my problems. I just don't want cancer to come back. I don't want AIDS to kick my ass.
Right.
I don't want my colostomy to have issues. So being queer is the least of my problems right now.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. I got this gay thing down now.
So tell me a little bit about your show. What's Putting It All Together about?
Oh, okay. Put It Together, which I was, your episode will air pretty soon. I think it's not this Wednesday.
What Daniel is referring to is I was a guest on Daniel's show not too long ago, and I thought his backstory was very interesting and that he was the perfect fit for the series. So that's why he's on with me today.
Yeah, so Put It Together started back in 2012, and it was, I've been a guest on somebody else's podcast. And I found it really interesting. I thought, wow, you can record from your home and you can talk to yourself for an hour. I was like, yay. But it started as me sharing with people my HIV story, my sexuality story, being clean and sober, moving from Houston, Texas to Laguna Beach, California. I was in a relationship, then I broke up, et cetera, and how I put it all together to make it work for me. And I was like, put it together. That's the name of the show. Okay, cool. Then I got bored with myself after the first episode. I was like, okay, I'm done talking about myself. What do I do now? So I started seeking out my friends who I thought had an interesting story and how they together. And now, 4 years later, I meet great people like you, and I'll admit, I stalk people online. I'll find something and I'll stalk them. It's like, ooh, they're interesting. So Put It Together is a show about people. And either you have overcome something, because my boyfriend lives in Culver City, we're near Hollywood. I meet a lot of publishers, I meet a lot of authors, independent filmmakers, musicians, comics. Despite of where you are and how much success you have now, we all have a Put It Together story. We've all come from somewhere. It was the seed of a dream that became a goal, and then that goal became a mission, and that mission became a passion, and now that passion is your job, and you get to do what you love, and that's awesome. But how did you put all that together? So my question, and you've been on the show, my first question to my guests usually is, how did you put it together? And then we go from there. And I believe everybody in the world has a Put It Together story.
What is the website address again where they find the show?
You can go to abnormalentertainment.com, and that's
abnormalentertainment.com. I'll be sure to put the graphics up on the screen as well.
Or you can go to everybody's on Facebook. You can go to Facebook and look up Put It Together podcast and like the page. If you want to be a guest on the show, you can send me a comment or message on there and just say, hey, I have a Put It Together story for you. And I've had the pleasure, and I'm so honored that again, folks like you, the show, and been graceful enough to sit with me for an hour. I've had survivors of cancer. I've had survivors of drugs and alcohol. People have started their own little businesses. I think that's beautiful. Like, how did you put that together? Everybody has a dream, turns into a goal, becomes a passion, and then we all have it. So join me and let me know how you put it together.
Everybody, I want to say thank you very much to Daniel for coming and joining us today. We're going to go ahead and end it here. I think that was perfect. I want to say hello to all of my friends over at Con Cafe down in Belle Harbor, Florida. I'm looking forward to coming to see you guys pretty soon, especially Chef Frank. Anyway, also want to say thank you to Vibram 5-Finger Shoes. And be looking for me next time when we do our interview with Dr. Javon Walker. It was good for having everybody join us today, and we're trying to put social back into social media.
Cool.